Shell, a business who's owned by some of the biggest royal families in the world, has now quite literally colonized an entire country. They have developed a blueprint for companies around the world to take over nations. This is a story that has been covered up internationally. Propaganda runs deep, because if people knew the true extent of the story, there would be global outrage, and it's time we talked about it. So how could one single company take over an entire nation? Well, you have to control their main export, and in the case of Nigeria, this is oil. So the process was simple. One of the main ways that Shell would take control of Nigeria was by controlling the oil extraction infrastructure. To do this, Shell would tell the Nigerian government that we will develop your country, give you loads of jobs, give you tons of foreign investment if we're given permission to build the oil extraction infrastructure. And at first this seems like a great deal for the Nigerian government. Being a poor country in need of foreign direct investment, they want foreign companies to build up Nigeria's infrastructure. Because if they do this, it means there's more investment in the country, there's more jobs, more prosperity, more tax, and the better the country develops. So having this big multinational company offer to develop better extraction methods for your main export does seem like a win-win. However, this didn't come without a price. Because even though all the infrastructure would be on Nigerian land, Shell were the ones who would actually own and operate it, which meant that in later years, Nigeria would become completely dependent on Shell for keeping about 1,000 Nigerian oil wells running. And with 95% of Nigeria's exports being oil, this then makes up 40% of their total economy. And now since Shell had control of the flow of oil in the country, they could now oversee almost half of Nigeria's total cash flow. And as Henry Kissinger said, whoever controls the money controls the world, and it was this factor that gave Shell unparalleled influence over the nation as a whole. It was a genius business move, because if Nigeria tried to change the deal and take back control of their own oil, Shell and any other oil company could halt extraction completely, decimating the entire country's economy. And because of Shell's powerful connections to the British and Dutch royal families, as well as all the other major banks, they would then tell other big companies to pull out their investments in Nigeria, thus stripping Nigeria of everything, strangling the country into submission. Shell also controls the distribution network for the oil. So even if, by some miracle, Nigeria managed to gain control of the extraction process, they would still need Shell to export it out of the country. And this oil money doesn't just fuel Nigeria's economy, it also makes up over 65% of the Nigerian government's revenue, which means Shell is the Nigerian government's daddy. It's this reliance on Shell's infrastructure that really mirrors an abusive relationship, where the company can do whatever they want and the Nigerian government is powerless to stop them. If Shell ceased their oil extractions, it would push the economy into a deep recession, all while leaving the government penniless and unable to do anything. This problem would then quickly lead to civil unrest and revolt, a fact that the Nigerian government is very aware of.